Hello, my young friends, and welcome to another video of English online lessons. Before we get into the lesson, take a look at these two pictures and express what you see. You will be given 30 seconds to think of your answer. Please pause the video while answering, and whenever you finish your answer, unpause it. Now, after I have heard these great answers of yours, we will be moving on to our objectives to figure out what is our lesson for today. Our objectives for today are: number 1, recognize the usage of comparatives and superlatives. Compare between two things of your choice using comparative and superlative, and you will have the love of the wildlife and animals. After you have watched the video, what do you think our lesson will be about? Take 20 seconds to think about our lesson for today. Write your thoughts on a piece of paper, then share your ideas with me. Now let's watch a video for 4 minutes, then we will discuss what is the video about. Are you ready for it? Yes, we are. Now, before we start the video, I want you to grab 3 things: your learner's book, a piece of paper, and a pencil. Then sit down and open your video.
Hi guys, how are you? Nice to see you again. Welcome to English Friday. I'm PWC. Hope to enjoy the class. On today's lesson, we'll be covering comparatives and superlatives. We will learn about what comparatives and superlatives are, how to properly use comparatives and superlatives, and some exceptions. However, before we start, I need you to know something. Every time you compare in English, you must always use than instead of that. For example, she is more beautiful than flowers. Going to the beach is better than going to the mountain. I prefer soda than orange juice. See? Easy peasy. Let's start now. What are comparatives and superlatives? Well, comparatives are adjectives that compare only two things. It's like comparing cartoons and TV series. How to use comparatives? First, don't forget comparatives are used only to compare two things. The clue word for comparatives is more, add an ER, which is an abbreviation of more at the end of the adjective. And if the adjective is too short, just duplicate the last letter. Then you would say something like, I was born first than my brother, so I am older than him. What you cannot say is, I am more old than him. This is not correct. It's like mixing the word more with the adjective. Let's make an example. Guess you're running against a friend, only the two of you. And then you win. So what would you say to your friend? Then you told your friend, I am faster than you, which is correct. What you cannot say is, I am more fast than you. This is not right. Well, moving on. Superlatives are adjectives that compare more than two things. Like comparing 3 people to see which one is the oldest, the youngest, and the tallest. How to use superlatives? First, don't forget superlatives are used to compare more than two things. The clue word for superlatives is most. Add an EST, which is an abbreviation of most, at the end of the adjective. And if the adjective is too short, duplicate the last letter. Let's make an example. Now, let's suppose you're running against many friends. And then you win. So what would you say to your friends? Then you tell your friends, I am the fastest runner, which is correct. What you cannot say is I am the most fast runner. This is not right. Now, we're almost done, so let's see the exceptions. First, if the adjective is too long, more than 2 syllables, then you cannot use comparatives and superlatives. For example, Spanish grammar is more difficult than English grammar, or she's wearing the most beautiful dress I've ever seen. Second, if the adjective describes an absolute state, like perfect, unique, and uniform, you cannot use comparatives and superlatives. For example, Maggie had the most perfect score at the exam. And there are some irregular adjectives that change with comparatives and superlatives. There are 5 of them, which are good, bad, far, little, and many. And here you have the comparative form and the superlative form. Well guys, my advice for you today is watch English movies with English subtitles. This is really gonna help you out. Thank you guys. See you next Friday. Try something awesome.
Created using Powtoon.
Now, after this wonderful video, we shall open our learner's book on page 157. Look at this page and tell me what can you see on this page. Yes, your answers were correct. You said that you have seen a giraffe, an elephant, a camel, and rat, frog, mouse, and hedgehog. These are wonderful answers. Your answers were correct as usual. These are my intelligent students. Now I will be starting with rule number 1. Rule number 1 is about short adjectives, a comparative using one syllable or one part adjectives. It means to compare between adjectives that consist of one part or one syllable, like tall, short, small, big. These previous adjectives were consist of one part. There are no more parts, only one part. The rule here says you have to start with a subject plus a helping verb plus an adjective, then you add to the adjective er, then you have to add than, finally you put the object. Here is an example that will help you to understand the rule better. Sana is shorter than Ilham. The subject we have here is Sana. The helping verb here is, the adjective shorter, and we add er to the adjective as the rule says. The adjective here is short, but when we add er, it becomes shorter. Than stays the same as it is, and the object is Ilham. Now to compare between adjectives that consist of more than 2 syllables, we use more. The meaning of 2 syllables, that the adjective consists of 2 or more than 2 parts, like the word beautiful. Beautiful. It consists of 4 parts or syllables. The word clever, 2 syllables or 2 parts. That's what we mean by syllable. Now the rule here says you have to start with a subject, then add a helping verb, then add more, then the adjective, then you have to add than, and finally the object. Here's an example. Jude's sweater is more beautiful than Ilham's sweater. The subject we have here is Jude's sweater. The helping verb here is, and more stays the same as it is. The adjective here is beautiful. Than stays the same, and the object here is Ilham's sweater. Now, after these two rules, let's check our understanding by answering the following question. The question says, write two meaningful correct sentences using the comparative for the short adjectives, er, and the comparative for long adjectives, more. You will be given 30 seconds to finish this question. Please pause the video while you are answering, and when you finish your answer, unpause it. Now your time is up. Please unpause your video now and let me listen to your sentences. What have you written? Wow, wonderful sentence. I like it. And what about more? What have you written for more? This is brilliant. I really like this sentence. Now, I wrote two sentences using the er and the more. My sentence with more is Suha is more pretty than Inas. My sentence for er is Hasna is taller than her sister. Now let's move on to rule number 3, which is about using superlative in one syllable adjectives. To compare between adjectives that consist of one syllable in superlative, we use est, or we add est to the adjective. The rule says you have to start with a subject, then you add a helping verb, then the adjective, then you add est, and finally you put the object. Here is an example to help you understand the rule. The example says, Hamad is the smartest in the class. Hamad is the subject. The helping verb we use is. The stays the same. Adjective here is smartest. The object here in the class. To use superlative with the more than 2 syllables adjective, we need to put most before the adjective. Here is the rule. The rule says subject plus helping verb plus the plus most plus adjective, and finally we add the object. Here is one example. English is the most interesting subject. The subject we have here is English. Helping verb is. The most, both of them stays as the same. The adjective here is interesting. The object is subject. Why did I added most to the adjective interesting? Because interesting consists of more than 2 syllables. Interesting. It consists of 3 syllables. Now, after we took these 2 rules, let's check our understanding by answering the following question. The question says, write 2 meaningful sentences using short adjectives superlative est and long adjective superlative most. You will be given 30 seconds to solve this question. Please, while you are answering, pause the video, and when you finish, unpause it. Your time is up. I am excited to hear your brilliant, amazing sentences. Let's start. Say your sentence and I will listen to it. This sentence is really, really, really great and lovely. Now, I will give you my sentence using the short adjective superlative. Hamda is Hamda is the shortest girl in her family. Great sentence. You used most really correctly and greatly. Now, I will give you my sentence. English is the most interesting subject. Is it my sentence or it's the same as the example? Right, it's the same as the example. That's correct. Now, open one more time your learner's book on page 157. On this page, there is a paragraph about animals. Take 2 minutes to read the paragraph and find out the comparatives and superlative on this paragraph. Please note that you have to write them on your paper. You have given 2 minutes to answer this question. Pause the video while you are answering, and when you finish, unpause it. Over 80% types are bees, ants, butterflies, and moths. So this fact means these 4 insects are 80% are found in our earth. So these are the most found or the most non-insects and the most insects in our planet. They are bees, ants, butterflies, and moths. Now, as a homework, you will have 2 questions. Question number 1 is you have to write 6 sentences comparing 2 animals in the wildlife using comparative and superlative. ER, more, and EST, most, using the 4 rules we took. Question number 2 is you have many pets at home and you need to take care of all of them at the same time. What can you do? And how can a robot helps you? These 2 questions are homework. Until next time. See you next time. Thank you for today and have a good day. Bye bye.